MSNBC Nicolle Wallace began her second hour on the recent reports that Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis will be announcing potential indictments between July and September and is urging officers to be prepared for attacks at the county courthouse. House Select Committee investigator Mark Harris was behind the electronic voting machines piece of the probe, and he thinks that the Fulton County case draws heavily on some of the material that's come out in the litigation in Georgia and the Curling vs. Raffensperger case that's referenced in the letter. Harris explained that in that case, those involved want to see some of the findings be made public. They've had the Select Committee report and they can see some of the material that maybe we didn't highlight in the hearings or in the report per se, but they've read the transcripts, and there is a fair amount of material in there that for various space reasons and otherwise wasn't necessarily highlighted, and they seem to think that they want to call attention to it apparently. Wallace pointed out that in defense of the committee, they were being shoved out the door while they were trying to ensure everything was made public. Well, this has been going on for over a year now of people who feel that based on what they've seen that charges should be brought, and they're not happy with the pace at which things are developing, and so oftentimes we see reports or people speaking out publicly saying, well, nothing's happening, Jack Smith isn't doing it. What's Fani Willis up to? Harris said. Harris explained that he was a federal prosecutor for many years and knows that things are moving quietly, but they are moving forward. I think the anxiety comes from two things, Wallace explained. The reality that the behavior's ongoing on Trump's part, and the reality that we are a country at greater risk because violent domestic extremism has intersected with lies about the 2020 election. It's not the fault of either of you two. You've worked to make sure that the truth gets out and gets out quickly. Representative Zoe Lofgren went on to note that Donald Trump was involved in the conversations about getting the voting machines. According to testimony, Rudy Giuliani thought they could get them voluntarily, whereas Trump wanted the White House to seize the voting machines. He had others do the nitty-gritty to preserve a little deniability, but there's no question he knew about it, and I think it's obvious he was interested in any scheme that would promote his goal of overturning the election. At one point the acting director, the Department of Homeland Security, had to tell him we can't do that. I mean, it's not permissible, so certainly, he was aware of the whole thing. We have testimony from Mr. Giuliani, said Lofgren. She went on to say that the goal was to push out every piece of text they gathered so that the Justice Department and state prosecutors would have what they needed to move forward. From your lips, Congresswoman, said Wallace. She asked both Lofgren and Harris if they were able to guess if there would be anything come of the electronic voting scheme, and both said they didn't want to speculate but that they think it will ultimately be part of Willis's case in Fulton County.